Oh, Mercury. So I'm reading this off my phone because I want to address everything because there was a lot of vague and slanderous statements that were just thrown our way. And again, not as individuals, just generically like, oh, they're just this, where again, no evidence, nothing, but we'll get to that. So let me start by saying context and intent is everything. Hence the novel of explanations and video evidence we have provided. Mercury, you abused me. You yelling at me to strip down all the way after I've told you I'm not comfortable multiple times is abuse. You cornering me and physically intimidating me and again yelling at me that no, I have to go down into pasties because it has to be me. It can't be anyone else. That's abuse. That's power of abuse. You're using your power of authority over me. I was 20 when I first joined the troop. Mercury was 26. You had all the power. You said in your bios and earlier that you had done a troop thing kind of like this, so you knew everything, you had all the connections, that's what you always said. And just like in my statement, how I say that, just like you said that we were all different. We were creating something new and spreading positivity and doing something unlike any other burlesque troupe has ever done because we're different from everyone. You could call it cult-like or some other term since you don't like using accurate terms and think that saying that is using pop terms or buzzwords, which again, you actually use and don't explain. But anyway, whenever we have come forward with anything, which again, let me just say, this is the first time we've ever felt safe to say your name and actually say Mercury Stardust abused me severely in multiple ways. And I witnessed other abuse happening to other people from Mercury Stardust. And before I even met Mercury Stardust, they were apparently abusing people in similar ways. And now, after us, people are coming forward saying, yeah, even in 2022, that Mercury Stardust was abusing them and still using the same tactics they were using against us. I mean, I want to say I'm shocked by like the blatant lies you're just telling, but this is something you've always done. Just like that person in burlesque who worked very closely with you, they came to me and said that you were actually exploiting them to be in your shows, and that they told me if they said no to you, that they were no longer allowed to be in your shows, which again, similar to things that you were telling me that if I didn't do X, Y, and Z, I would not be allowed to be in your show, and there would be consequences to face, as you would always say. And again, it's in my statement, it's in the proof, and in other texts, so I don't know where your confusion is and where that lines up. Because again, in my statement and in Bridgett's statement, we go through the entire timeline. From when we started in the troop, to when we left the troop, to when we discovered other shit about you, that we had no clue about you until after we had left burlesque, and our intensive therapy we've been very open about in going to and being educated in. So what happened at your parents' house on tour, that was abuse. You essaying Bridgett is abuse. I witnessed you touch her inappropriately multiple times, and multiple times we just brushed it off because, oh, it's burlesque, oh, it's probably a slip up, oh, it's Mercury, like obviously she wouldn't mean to do anything like that. And not just Bridgett, other women saying that how you've behaved backstage, how you've talked to them in other environments, that it's made them uncomfortable, to say the least. And you knew exactly how we felt about you leaving the troop because we made it very clear to you, and you were very aware of that. And again, it's all in the statement of like how it happened. It wasn't just a random thing. It was we were fighting and discussing about how you were abusing us and mistreating us, and that we needed to have a face-to-face conversation about it. And you got pissed off because we held a boundary, and you refused to accept that boundary. So then you blew off and said, "Oh, we're the issue. We're problematic." And we're for no reason but left. We had no idea what happened. Again, it's all in the statement. And it's in the video too of the audio of me crying and asking why, and for like you to explain like what the fuck is happening. And just now I know it's like, oh, I was never going to get a reason why. There is no reason why. Like you admit. And again, in those videos, whenever I corner you into a lie, like, excuse me, that is not real. This is what happened. Here's the proof. You just deflect and say, and I quote, well, it's just your attitude that made me react abusive towards you. No. In that same video, which is up and that you try to take down, you can hear yourself screaming and slamming on the coffee table that I insisted be between us because of this. Then in that same meeting, you charged me and almost slammed the door on me. Again, it's all explained about like how intense and like crazy that situation is. It's all explained in the post. And once again, this is not new behavior. Another burlesquer has come out and said you have provided, to say the least, a passive aggressive work environment. And that's something I'd like to address too. I've already said that is Mercury's go-to, is try to paint me as a disgruntled ex-worker, where that didn't happen. In your ad, like I said on Mad Stage, you said that it was for a paid gig in a paid troupe and we'd be paid for every performance. And that never happened. For whatever reason, you would just make up a lie, which we found out from other people that, oh, you were just lying. So I don't know what happened to that money, but we were not working for you because you didn't pay us. You would constantly try to shame us about, it's for art, it's for the love of the art, who cares? Like, stop asking for payment, while then insisting on paying other people and then preaching about having to pay performers and make sure you're paying good amount of performers while not paying other performers because you're using them. Because I quote, they're new performers. And again, in 2022, you said that you like to, I guess I wouldn't say pray, but you like to use new performers since they are so eager and are willing to do anything for you. And then you go on to talk about how you humiliate this performer on stage and tell them to do meaningless acts. Talk about you said we did tasteful acts. What number? Like, literally, like, that's such a blatant lie. That's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's just a lie. Saying that you were worried because we were doing inappropriate numbers while we refused to strip all the way for you, crazy. And then also saying we were the ones who are inappropriate, which again, as late as 2022, you can see Mercury telling people to fuck the floor and that you have to be really vulgar with it, and says it's to humiliate them. Not, again, there's no purpose. It's just because, as Mercury says, they have the power so they can do whatever they want. Also, the first time I'm hearing is that we were late to rehearsals. Like, that was never a thing. This is new information. Once again, just lying to lie. There were multiple times where we were waiting outside your place, locked out with all of our stuff, and waiting 30 to 40 minutes because you weren't ready for us, whatever that means. And again, these were all, read the post, these were all your scheduled events. These were all on your time. I have an email of you yelling at me because I couldn't make one date. And that turned into a huge issue for you because one date I said, oh, that's the only date I can't make. And that turned into a whole thing. Part 2's coming up, so don't worry. We're still getting to all the vague shit and slander you said, Mercury.